The Diary of a Certified Psychopath. Flash Forward Review. The best things come to those who wait. Patience is a virtue. Don't want it bad, want it Friday. Were all worldly wise proverbs tirelessly repeated to me by doting parents throughout a childhood when mastering that elusive art routinely practiced by saints posed a far stiffer figurative challenge than the one I literally undertook during my school's spring half-term holiday in 1991, when I ground to the summit of King George VI Avenue on my beloved 12th birthday present, and first ever geared bike. A vintage drop bar racer retrofitted with Sturmey Archer's ubiquitous 3-speed hub system that ensured cadences remained in the strict no-spin zone whilst tackling the hill's quad-crushing 15% incline. In the case of this recent long-term investment, it wasn't patience that compelled me to circumvent what would have been a succession of expensive impulse purchases, followed by bouts of acute buyer's remorse, but rather an innate resistance to prevailing industry standards, transient trends, and the professional opinion of accredited experts, who often find it difficult morally resolving the dilemma of whether to provide qualified, impartial advice or fortify their considerable income via covert paid promotions, to the practical, financial, and even medical detriment of their trusting followers. Even when all of the above are substantiated or endorsed by the perpetual preachings of contemporary science, be that in the form of reputable independent studies, or the 10th GCN video titled Clipless versus Flats, which is really better, my adherence to platform pedals has remained unconditional for over 3 decades as a recreational cyclist. Aside from preserving the health and safety of career critters engaging in perilous bunch sprints during their typically merciless battles for podium glory, I see no practical or physical benefits in a patented pedaling mechanism that locks the rider's foot indefinitely in one position, and find that retaining a degree of lateral and longitudinal manoeuvrability in one's legs is far more conducive to comfort, regardless of saddle time, as well as beneficial from the perspective of human biomechanics. The ability to shift emphasis between active muscle groups by making small adjustments to one's foot position, both in and out of the saddle, can be extremely useful in almost any cyclical context, not least up extended climbs, and throughout long-distance rides of a consistently lower intensity, when the onset of cramp might well be aggravated by one's relative lack of in-motion flexibility. Desiring the quick fit and release mechanics that no crank, spider, cassette or hub-based power meter can provide, and which affords me the ability to deftly swap the units between my studio's faithful stationary steed, a Stages SB20, and the bike I favour for all casually constructed outdoor training, I've had, until now, to depend on Strava's guesstimated power data, which calculates the rider's output via an arcane equation accounting only for their weight and velocity over an indefinite gradient range, resulting in gravity being the sole determining factor of effort. There is no algorithmic allowance for that barbarically blustery block headwind, unleashing barrages of venomous upper gusts every time you dare straighten from that stem-chinning stoop, or the innate drag deficiency of your loose-fitting puffer jacket, both of which, when combined with such potent elemental hindrances, make 90 watts feel like 290. Consulting Google several months ago in a fit of cyclical retail therapy, I was delighted to discover that my stubbornness had paid dividends, and moreover, the prayers of cycling's proverbial flat earthers were emphatically answered by SRM, a German company founded in 1985, and widely regarded as its native industry's defining innovator of performance monitoring technology. SRM have since carved a commendable market presence with their comprehensive range of class-leading power meters, whilst their recently released X-Power Flat was touted by numerous independent sources as the world's first platform pedal to feature integrated strain gauges. They are available in single or dual-sided variants with respective price tags of €840 and €1,430, an arguably prohibitive markup when considering that flagship clipless compatible solutions can be obtained from the likes of Asioma, Garmin, Stages, and other reputable rival brands for significantly less. But where there is no market competition, an exploitative guinea pig tax for those few uncompromising early adopters is almost inevitable. Having also settled UPS's extortionate brokerage fees, import duty and VAT surcharge to have my precious pair of green X-Powers shipped from their country of origin, with whom we formerly enjoy the luxury of frictionless trade, SRM's carefully taped parcel resided on my kitchen counter, awaiting the attention of a Stanley knife. The spec sheet stacks up well, listing all the technological features one might expect from such a state-of-the-art accessory, underpinned by its manufacturer's functional design and precision engineering. Robust bearings with a silky smooth action, cages forged from premium-grade aluminium and coated in a rich choice of 7 anodized paint finishes, with 2 lithium-ion batteries concealed within their durable axles. Both Bluetooth and ANT+ connectivity are supported, whilst the appearance and weight of the pedals, once kitted out with their enclosed chrome-plated pins, imply a product meticulously optimized for longevity and reliability under the most strenuous conditions. The X-Powers come bundled with a braided 3-meter charging cable, which boasts a USB connector at the receiving end and branches out at the other into 2 clamps that magnetically attach to each unit's spindle. Getting the central pins aligned with the spindle's single metal contact was a marginally fiddlier process than the instructions indicated, requiring prolonged wiggling until correctly seated, whereupon the pedal's LED will initially illuminate green, then begin flashing red to indicate charging is in progress, before ultimately switching to a blinking green state, once fully charged. In keeping with the exponential influx of superfluously smart devices, the X-Powers are wirelessly initialized and controlled using SRM's proprietary app, which provides a plethora of configurable settings that most moderately tech-savvy spinners will be familiar with and can be left on their automatic defaults, though the correct crank length will need to be manually set before calibration is carried out, with the latter being recommended before each ride in order for metered data to remain accurate. The utility's setup wizard was self-explanatory and almost trouble-free, with the right pedal being designated as the primary and linking to its left twin following one simple tap, though I found the app was initially a little reluctant to detect the former's presence and had to rouse it with several hand-cranked revolutions. The tool also includes a pedaling analysis feature, strongly resembling that provided by Wattbike's integrated software and subscription-based virtual cycling platforms such as Wahoo's System, formerly Sufferfest. It allows individual monitoring of left and right strokes with readings supplied for each in real time, alongside an animated graph dynamically depicting the rider's parametric power distribution to determine whether you are pedaling in squares, peanuts or pentagons, and help rectify any severe imbalance. Once setup is complete, pairing the pedals with the vast majority of existing bike computers is equally straightforward. My 7-year-old and heavily weather-worn Garmin Fenix 3 is bereft of Bluetooth, but promptly identified the X-Powers via ANT+, and proceeded to read signals throughout their inaugural 30-minute round trip, despite one manual pause and resume during an off-bike pit stop at my local Tesco Express to forage a selection of remotely hand-harvested root vegetables. Reporting was impressively responsive during steady intervals, ramp-ups and sprints, both when seated and mashing Maris Piper potatoes, and roughly 10% higher than Strava's estimated average throughout the same 10-kilometre loop, whilst both cadence and wattage data traces fluctuated within 3% of those generated by my SB20's Stages Gen 3 cranks for a similar degree of perceived exertion, which at the time of speaking are still considered amongst the industry's gold standard for accuracy. What's that? You want bar charts and line graphs? Who do you think I am, DC Rainmaker?